Good afternoon. So this is a rescue story. Can you hear me? Good. So dog training has a lot in common with rescue groups. We get to rescue one dog at a time also. Fortunately, we get to do it before the dog becomes homeless. And I'm going to take you on a journey with me. We're going back to 1979. And I was a dog trainer at that time, living in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was on my way out to an appointment. And the appointment was a couple with a Great Dane puppy. So I thought, well, this should be fun. No sooner had I pulled up to the house, and I thought, this doesn't look like our typical clients. It was a motor home, but it was also very, very run down. Anyways, I get inside the house, and usually when I go to visit somebody to help them with a puppy, it's a joyous occasion. You would have thought I had gone to a funeral. The owners were sitting in their chairs. They didn't want to look at me. And I'm looking at them, trying to strike up a conversation. So I say, so you've got a Great Dane puppy? And they look at me, and they hold their heads down, and they say, yes. And I said, and you're interested in training the puppy, right? And again, they looked at me, and they said, well, maybe. And I said, well, where is the puppy? And they both very solemnly looked off to the side and said, it's in the kitchen. Well, I looked to my left, and there's the kitchen door wide open. There's no puppy bounding out to say hello to me. So I thought, well, it must be in a crate. So I asked him, I said, can I go in and see the puppy? And he said, yes. So I walked into the kitchen. There's no crate. And I looked to my right, and here on the ground, next to the kitchen counter, was a shivering, 3.5-month-old Great Dane puppy. There was no tail wagging. This puppy was trembling. This puppy had its head down. This puppy wouldn't even look at me. I knew in that moment that this was bad. This was bad. I looked at the floor. I could see blood on the floor. This puppy also had a huge notch cut from its ear. In that moment, I had a whole new agenda. My agenda was, you are leaving with me. That's it. So I try to wipe the stun off my face. I go back out into the living room. It's like, how am I going to get that dog out of this house with me? So I started asking him questions, typical questions that you'd ask of an owner with a puppy. How's it doing on its housebreaking? How is chewing? You know, the typical things that an owner would have to manage. And I got them complaining. They started saying, no, he's a bad dog. He potties in the house. He chews. And they started ranting about the dog. And I said, well, you know, he has not been a really good dog for you, has he? They said, no, he hasn't. I said, you know, I am a dog trainer. I can take this dog home with me. I know a perfect family who will just love him, and you can find yourself another puppy. And they were like, it was the first time I saw them light up. They said, yes, great, really? And I was like, mission accomplished. So I scooped the dog up. I took the dog home with me. As the days rolled on, it was almost miraculous at how quickly he started to become a normal puppy. He went from even shivering around my house to milling around with the other dogs, and every day became healthy and joyful as a puppy should be. Now, at that same time frame, animal communicators were also new in the world. And Beatrice Leidecker had just written her first book, What the Animals Tell Me. I saw her interviewed on Johnny Carson. I wanted to know what happened to this rescue dog, this dog that I had rescued. What horrible things did happen to him? So then it occurred to me, perhaps I should talk to an animal communicator. I knew I wasn't going back to their house. So I got the number of an animal communicator. Now again, I'm a skeptic, but I thought, let's give this a try. So I called the animal communicator. The first thing she wanted to know was the dog's breed and his name. And so I told her, Great Dane puppy, gave her his name, and then she wanted me to be quiet. So I was quiet, patiently waiting, and then she came back and she started to tell me what my living room looked like. She wanted to make sure she was talking to the right dog. I was impressed. Then, after a few minutes, and she asked me to be quiet again, so I made quiet, and after a few minutes, I heard her go, oh! And I said, what? And she said, his ear. And I said, yeah, what happened to his ear? And she was quiet for a few more minutes, and then I heard her gasp again. She goes, oh! And I said, what? She said, it looks like he had a diamond cut out of it. And I said, yeah, that's the dog. What happened to his ear? And she was quiet, and she said, I'm not going to tell you what happened to his ear. And I'm like, what? She goes, here's what you need to know. He's a well puppy, he's a stable dog, he's happy with you, and he's going to be just fine. And I said, well, why won't you tell me what happened to his ear? And she said, I'll tell you why. We don't need to drag the past into the present. If I tell you what happened to his ear, then everyone you meet, you're going to tell them what happened to the ear, the next person is going to tell the next person what happened to the ear, and the dog has to relive it over and over again. I got off the phone feeling a little gypped. I wanted to know what had happened to his ear. But over the years, the wisdom that she gave me that day was abundant. We don't need to drag the past into the present. Thank you.